Hello, everyone. Welcome to the one and only Footy Podcast, episode 7. It's me, Saboy. How's that for a week of football, eh? Hawthorn beating Collingwood. Amazing. Essendon choking at Adelaide. Funny. Geelong can't even win at Cardinia against Western Bulldogs. Funny. Fremantle statement win against Melbourne. A lot happened this week. A lot happened. A lot of things shaped the 8. So let's start off on Friday at Marvel Stadium where Essendon hosted Adelaide. In Essendon, I don't know what they get up to. They can't win the easy games. I don't know what's wrong with this team, man. Like, they were top 4 a few weeks ago, and now they're like 8th place, hanging into the 8 for dear life, basically. They lost for 2 points. It was Rochelle, the legend, kicked a goal with 50 seconds left to get the win. And Essendon just couldn't do anything. And at one point, Adelaide kicked 8 in a row, and then after that, the next quarter, in the third quarter, Essendon kicked 7 in a row. So it was a very back and forth, even game. Essendon was up by 3 goals with 4 minutes to go, but then they just let Adelaide do what they want, and Adelaide stole the win, and it was at Marvel, so Essendon were clear favourites, and Adelaide are quite the lower team, so it was quite surprising, really, that Adelaide got the win, and it was that close as well, but I don't know with Essendon, they just lose all the time to anyone, really. Adelaide are nothing to say anything about. They're not this amazing team, and they couldn't get the win against a lower team at your home ground. I don't know, man. Adelaide haven't played well outside of the Adelaide Oval this year whatsoever, and they get this not an easy win, but they get the win, and they shouldn't have got the win. Because Essendon finals on the line, top 4 was on the line, and they just blew it. I don't know. Will they even make the finals this year, this team? They're so inconsistent. I don't understand. They've lost 3 of the last 5 or something. It's ridiculous. The amount of talent, the amount of experience on that team compared to Adelaide, and they just couldn't get it done. I don't know. Taylor Walker wasn't even playing. They couldn't get it done. I don't know. Essendon are pretenders. I always knew it. Even when they're top 4, they aren't top 4 worthy. They're at least top 8 worthy. Between 5 and 8, they should make it, but the way they've been playing, I don't think so. The way they've been playing, I don't think so. Sorry, Essendon. And on Saturday, we started GWS hosting Gold Coast at NG Stadium in Sydney. And just like every other week, Gold Coast can't win away. So, of course, GWS won 39 points very easily. Gold Coast only scored 50. That's ridiculous, man. That's ridiculous. The amount of talent they have, Gold Coast, and they're scoring 50. They just can't win away. I don't know what the deal is. I don't really understand. They're undefeated at home, and they can't win away. Every single second week, they lose. This is why they won't make finals. They definitely won't make finals. They can't win away ever. I don't know what their problem is. They've got a good coach. They've got good talent. Ben King, Rao, Anderson, Sam Collins, Lukosius. Is that not enough talent? Ballard, Sexton, Sam Flanders. He's a good player. He's amazing. But it's not good enough. When they leave Queensland and they go anywhere else, they get all spooked and scared and they can't play. I don't know what the deal is. Even against the bad teams, they couldn't beat St Kilda away. They couldn't beat North Melbourne away. They got Eagles in Perth soon. They can't win that either. And they got Richmond away soon. So they're going to drop them all probably, but they just can't win away. I don't know what Hardwick's deal is, but I don't know what the team's problem is. They're just 14 years been in the comp. Still no finals. 14 years. David Swaller's been there since the start. 231 games. No finals. It's going to keep going, man. The streak's not going to end. How are they ever going to play finals? You're going to get rid of this stupid, crappy team, man. They're always so mediocre. They finish between 9th and 13th like every single year. What more can they get? More draft picks? What will make them make the top 8 for once? I don't know. 14 years, man. Useless. No other team in the comp has gone 14 years without making finals. Only Gold Coast. I don't know, man. I don't know. They have enough talent. They have enough experience. I don't know. They're just weak, man. Mentally weak. Oh, I don't know. Just in Queensland. I don't know. These Queensland teams are just weak. In Gold Coast, the Gold Coast city is known for having crappy sports teams. Maybe it's just a curse. Maybe they need to be relocated. But they want to change the branding. They want to change the logo. That's going to be nothing. It's going to make no difference what colors they wear next year and whatever their logo looks like. Who gives a crap? They're a bad, mediocre team. Relocate them, man. They should have gone to Tasmania. You didn't need a Tasmanian team. These knobs could have gone to Tasmania and probably won some more games. But then Queensland doesn't need two teams, and the second team is so mediocre. And that's why they have no fans. They don't go well. They don't do anything every year. Gary Ablett or not, they can't do anything. Oh, I'd hate to be a fan of them, man. They're so mediocre. It's crazy. And the hype they get every time they win at home. Yes, this is going to change. They're going to turn it around. They're going to go away and win a game. And they can't. They haven't won away since like last year, mid-year. It's all talk and no action, man. They always, every year, it's going to be Gold Coast year. It's going to be Gold Coast year. 14 years later, nothing. Enough with the talk, man. Enough with the talk. It's so mediocre. There's no point even talking about them. Everyone just quiet down. Stupid Gold Coast, quiet down. You're a bad team, man. You can do nothing. Flat track bullies only play well at home. You're nothing. You're nothing. No finals for you. Again. 15 years soon. Ridiculous, this team. I don't know how Noah and Ben King don't want to leave. You're never going to play finals the way they're going. Matt Rao and Noah Anderson, when are they going to play finals? Lukosius, Sexton, Took Miller, are they ever going to play finals? Jared Witts, are they? Sam Flanders, are they? With this team? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's always next year, they say from Gold Coast. It's always next year, always next year. Enough with excuses, man. Do something. You got to change something, man. I don't know. I'll never believe in them winning an away game this year, so I ain't tipping them. No chance. We had St Kilda hosting the Eagles at Marble Stadium. And St Kilda got the win very easily. 72 points. Membry had a day out. 5 goals against the Witched Hats. The Eagles are like Witched Hats. Witches' hats. Away from Perth, they just play horrible. Eagles, like really, really, really bad. Something about being outside of WA just really kills them. Because they don't win in Perth, but they still play better. But when they go away, they just play horrible, man. They haven't won away since last year, probably. They're horrible, man. In Melbourne especially, they get smoked all the time. And in Perth, they've been not bad. They lost to Brisbane by 3 goals in Perth, and they've had some good showings in Perth. They won the Derby. But, like, man, they're so bad. They lost their last 8 now, I think, Eagles. They haven't won in 2 months, man. They haven't won a game since they beat Melbourne at Optus Stadium. It's been a while. Is it going to change anytime soon? I don't know. New coach. Will anything change? I don't know. New coach mean nothing. Still a bad team. And then the key guy gets injured. Like all the time, someone's injured. Either Allen or Waterman. One of the two's always injured. I don't know, man. And Elliot Yeo injured again. Like, all damn Duggan injured. Like, all these people injured all the time. But they're old. Especially Yeo, man. I don't know. Yeo's only 30, but he has had a lot of groin problems, a lot of hamstring problems. No wonder they're so low a team, man. They got no talent. The Eagles, the young guys are so, like, mid. It's crazy. And they get a game because the team's not talented whatsoever. They got no good. They had no good. The draft picks they've been selecting, besides Harley Reid, have been meh. The Eagles are in a very bad place right now. Very, very bad place. Like, could get worse. You never know. Like, it's going to be the end of the season. What's going to happen next week at the Derby? They're going to show a better performance, or they could get killed. It's one of the two. I don't. Maybe they win. Maybe. A little small, maybe. But, man, Eagles been in shocking form, man. Especially away from home. 72 points. That's crazy. St Kilda aren't even that good. St Kilda are bottom 5 as well. Just smoked them, man. St Kilda beat them in Perth and Melbourne. The double. The double dotsy. Bah! Yes. What can you say about St Kilda? Good last year. Underwhelming this year. Won't make finals. Next year, it'll be... The pressure will be on Ross Lyon next year, because you make your finals the first year, don't make second year. You dropped away drastically from 7th, like 8 positions down. So next year, we'll see what you do. If not, there's going to be questions about this team. You got talent, so I don't know. And you scored over 100 this week, but usually you don't. So I don't know. It's the St Kilda team. The way he coaches Ross Lyon, the defensive stuff, it doesn't win him games. He hasn't won crap there. He didn't win a final last year. He done nothing this year. When he was there all those years ago, Fremantle. They made all those grand finals. They never won nothing. The defense doesn't work. Can someone please tell him attacking games win premierships? Can someone please tell him the most games ever coached is by him with no premiership? And he keeps on getting chance after chance after chance after chance after chance. And change your game plan, bro. Or you ain't getting a premiership. Like, seriously, man. That's why you can't believe in St Kilda. I won't believe in them in a top 4 team anytime soon. But the way they play is so defensive and boring. And yeah, when you're averaging like maybe 80 points a game, you ain't winning nothing. Pardon me. Yes. But yeah, going from what I said earlier, GWS was an expected win, good win. GWS are definitely getting into form in the right time. Because a few weeks ago, they were lower, maybe 8th, but won the last whatever 2 or 3, 4 games. So they've gone higher up, and they found their form. And Toby Green's been playing better. Jesse Hogan's been playing better. So it's good. Good for GWS. Maybe top 4 fancy. Like, I expected them to be top 4 start of the year, so they could finish in the top 4. They deserve to be in the top 4, 5, or 6. They're a good team. That is, sometimes they have their lapses and they just play really badly for some reason. But then they start playing again, so they're very inconsistent. But we'll see. They finished lower last year and they made a prelim for like maybe from 5th or 6th. So no, they made a prelim from 7th last year, so it doesn't matter where they finish in the top 8. They always find a way to win a final, one final at least. So every final team's ever made, they've won a final. So it doesn't matter if even they finished 8th. I think they could give it up to whoever the 5th place team is. They just make the finals. They're good enough to make the finals. They deserve to make the finals. Compared to Essendon and Melbourne and Gold Coast and Collingwood, and they're better than Port Adelaide. They're better than all those teams, so they deserve a spot. Because they would do something in the finals. So they play well, and I like their game plan. I like their coach, and they made a prelim last year, so they're clearly good enough, and they've got definitely enough talent in the forward, the midfield, the back. So yeah, GWS. I'd sort of call them a contender. I'd say maybe top 5 contender. I'd say. And then we had Hawthorn hosting Collingwood at MCG. 74,000 people came for Jack Scrimshaw's 100th game. And Collingwood just didn't show up. I don't know where they were. Maybe they were at the airport or something. I don't know. Or they're still at the training ground, but they didn't show up whatsoever. They kicked 1 goal 11, I think, to half time. Hawthorn just smothered them, man. Hawthorn won by 66. Hawthorn killed them. I watched it. Amazing performance by Hawthorn. Collingwood weren't even close to it. They were just so slow, and they just let Watson out the back. They let Bruce out the back. They let Meek just out-muscled Cameron, gave some easy quick taps, some easy goals by Whirlpool, and Newcombe played out in the goal square in the last quarter and got a nice mark and kicked a goal, and just MP kicked a goal. Ambrosio kicked 2. Like, the very even spread. They scored 100. They scored 20 goals to Collingwood's 9. This is the biggest score Collingwood have conceded since McRae's been there, and the biggest score they've conceded since 2021, and the biggest loss since 2021. So, biggest loss of McRae in his time, and most amount of games McRae's lost in a row, 4. This is the biggest streak of his career at Collingwood. His worst losing streak. So yeah, Collingwood, man, that is. 4 weeks ago they were like top 4, but since they've just fallen off the face of the earth, and this was a bad loss, man. Like, Hawthorn were favourites slightly, and I had picked Collingwood to win. I thought Collingwood actually responded and do something, and McStay came back, but I don't know, man. They got destroyed. Their defence, Darcy Moore was poor, Markov was poor, Maynard was being a tough guy, didn't lead to anything, Quainer was poor, Nick Dacos was very average. The whole team, DeGoey barely touched the ball into the 3rd quarter. They couldn't kick straight. I don't know, man. Hawthorn just had their way. Like, seriously. Sicily had, Hawthorn had 8 guys over 25 touches. Sicily had his 30, even though his shoulders were banged up. He still had his easy 30, and, man. Moore had a day out. Ginnivan was best on ground, 31 touches and 2 goals. Bruce kicked 4. Like, such an even spread of players. And, Connor McDonald kicked 4. Like, man. They got destroyed, Collingwood. Everywhere. Hawthorn just kept getting the ball and getting the ball and getting the ball and kept scoring. And 20 goals, man. It's crazy to concede 20 goals. with all these premiership players and all this, and they just got told, man. Like, they had 17 premiership players out there, and Hawthorn, the second youngest team in the competition, just told them what to do, just whipped them. You could tell Collingwood were off the place. They were slower. Hawthorn has too much run, man, like way too much run. Couldn't deal with it, Collingwood. And all the fans left, all the Collingwood fans left at half time. There was not 74,000 people by the time the final siren. And Ginnivan's gone like this, and Ginnivan rubbing it in, and poor Collingwood. Just kidding, not poor Collingwood. And Collingwood will probably not make finals now, because fall from grace, and they're 2 games behind, and they got some hard games coming up in the last 5, so I don't think they're going to make finals, and that's their season over. And it's poetic that Jack Ginnivan is the one to end their season. They got rid of him, and he's playing way better at Hawthorn than he did at Collingwood. This is his career high, 31. He never had more than 23 before on Saturday. So he just did what he wanted, man. And all the Nick Watson kicked 3 straight as well, even though people say he can't kick straight, even though he kicks the winner against Fremantle, and he kicks 3 straight against Collingwood. Shut up all the critics, man. Like, man. Hawthorn just outplayed them in every single area. Their defence was better, their midfield was better, their forwards are better. Gunston wouldn't have been playing, and they still can kick 20 goals. That's pretty crazy. Malbio Chol kicked some 2 nice goals, and the celebrations were funny, and ting, 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 ting. An amazing win, man. And that's what helped Hawthorn push into the 8 now. Only 2 points outside the 8, and been a long time since Hawthorn been this good. It's been at least 5 years since they've been this good. And they might make finals. I'm not sure yet. It's possible, but you never know. If they make finals, it'd be amazing, especially coming down from 0-5 at the start of the year, being 17th, to this, nearly in the 8, like legit 2 points out the 8. And the percentage got helped by Collingwood. The percentage is over 100 now because Collingwood, so thank you, Collingwood. I appreciate it. Nice percentage booster, so thank you, Collingwood. But yeah, if they make finals, it'll be an amazing story. Because imagine starting 0-5, making finals. Sydney one time was 0-6, then made finals. But Sydney in 2017 just came off a grand final, so they always had the talent to make their finals. But Hawthorn have been bad since 2018. They haven't made finals, and no one thinks a team from 0-5 are going to make the finals. But this could happen. It'd be an amazing story. Just that turnaround's been crazy. They won 10 in the last 13 games. Them and Sydney are in the best form in the competition. Both won 10 in the last 13. Very unexpected turnaround. Like, I didn't expect it to be so many. I thought this year they'd cap at like 8 wins. They're already on 10, and they haven't had 10 wins for 5 years. And if they go over 11 wins, they've got 11 wins in 2019. If they go over 11 wins, it'll be their best return since 2018. So it's been a good year for Hawthorn. Not the start, obviously, but since then, it's clicked. Just like amazing turnaround. I don't know how this turnaround is. Everyone's been playing better. Everyone's more hungry. Everyone's tackling. Making Collingwood look slow, man. And Collingwood are known for their ball movement, their quickness, but Saturday, that is nothing. Chris wasn't sticking tackles. They couldn't break clear. Couldn't kick straight. Like, man. Their forward line is so bad too. It doesn't matter if Myercheck and Schultz aren't playing. Even with those two in, the forward line, they don't score much. They used to score nearly 95 a game, but now just their forward line is so dysfunctional. Like, McStay had a nice grabs and kicked a goal, but he kicked 1 goal too. He missed a very easy one, and he might be the missing piece. But with the other guys, I don't think they can win another premiership unless they get a better forward and some more youth. But they got like 10 guys over 30, so you'd need some youth, or this team's going to come crashing down. Dacos can only take you so far. He's like the only young promising player. Everyone else is over 25. So they need to find something, man, or they've got to trade for something. But they gave up a high pick for Lachie Schultz, and that's turned around bad for them. But now Fremantle have like a top 10 pick. But no one thought Collingwood would be so bad, so Collingwood gave the first pick to Fremantle. Now Fremantle have like 3 into the top 10 picks. Like three picks in the top 15. But Collingwood is like, oh yeah, Lachie Schultz is worth the first pick. We'll give it to you. And Lachie Schultz hasn't been that good, man. He ain't worth a first pick. And they gave Ginnivan out for nothing, and Ginnivan's the better player than Lachie Schultz, and people really thought Lachie Schultz was better. He ain't anymore. He was last year. Yeah. And Collingwood probably regretting letting Ginnivan go, because Ginnivan's had a great year, man. And he's averaging like nearly 20 touches, and he's going well, man. Can't believe they got rid of him. Stupid to get rid of him. But look at them. Biden calling one in the ass, but you need some young talent. Ginnivan is the young talent. You let it go for nothing. Walk out the door. Ooh. And he's the one that beats you. It's pretty funny to me. That's what happens though. Karma in football. What comes around, goes around, comes around. Then we had Geelong hosting Western Bulldogs at GMHBA Stadium, and I thought honestly Geelong would win this. Because Western Bulldogs have been very up and down this year, and Geelong have been decent at home, not amazing, but I still expect them to win at home. And they got outplayed. They lost by 8 goals, man. It's so unexpected. They only scored 48, and Western Bulldogs scored nearly 100. Western Bulldogs beat them by 47, and Rory Lobb had a field day out in defence, intercept marking, keeping Jeremy Cameron to 1 goal and like 7 touches, and Bontempelli had his way, and Western Bulldogs have been clicking to form, but it's out of nowhere. Won 4 of their last 5. They're just, besides that really bad game against Port Adelaide, maybe 3 weeks ago, they've won games and they're going. And they're still not in the 8 somehow, but only because they've had some stupid losses. But they're 9th. They're like 2 points out the 8. They're right there. Their percentage is 117 as well. So if they win more, if they make the 8, their percentage is that good, they'll stay in the 8. And if they have the same amount of wins as all these other teams, their percentage is that good that they'll be in the 8. And they deserve to be in the 8. The way they've been playing this year, especially the last 5 weeks. For the last 5 weeks have been very good by them. And Bontempelli playing well, and Norden came back, and Waitman's there, and Ugle-Hagan, and you figured out where to put Rory Lobb. It's a very talented team. They're too talented to miss the 8. Like, I can't believe they missed the 8 last year, but they shouldn't miss the 8 this year. They're a good enough team to make the 8. They deserve the 8 compared to like Essendon and Port Adelaide. They're worthy, and they just keep winning, and they'll make the 8. And Bontempelli is a great player and might be going for his first Brownlow. And Treloar's been crazy good this year. He might be going for his first All-Australian. Like, they got some good players, man. Ed Richards has been pretty good in the midfield since they moved him there. And Liam Jones is good in the back line. They've got a lot of good players. But Norden, Ugle-Hagan, Darcy and Lobb, that's like a lot of tall timber, a lot of marking targets. And they got youth, they got experience. They still got Jack McRae, they still got Caleb Daniel. Still, Tim English is a good player, so they're very talented, and they should make the 8. And for Geelong, if they would have won, Geelong would have been top 4. But Geelong's next few games are quite easy, so Geelong should finish top 4 this year. They got some games to GMHBA. They got some, They get to face the Eagles in round 24 GMHBA. How much do you think they're going to win that? GMHBA. How much do you think they're going to win that? Because Eagles don't play well there whatsoever. Eagles get blown out, so don't expect anything different this year. That will help their percentage along, obviously. But the percentage is not really high right now, but they lost the Bulldogs by only 8 goals. But they get to face North Melbourne. They get to face the Eagles. So they got a good fixture coming up. For the next 5 games are against teams outside the bottom 13. Bottom 5. For the next 5 games against bottom 5 teams. So their draw is quite lucky that they end the fixture quite like that. So they should be top 4 unless they've just out of some reason they lose to a bad team. But I don't really get Geelong. They lose to Carlton by 10 goals, and then they beat Essendon, they beat Collingwood, and then they come to Western Bulldogs and get smashed. And I know Essendon and Collingwood aren't like the measuring sticks of the AFL, but they are still in contention for finals. And Geelong just, I don't know, I don't get Geelong really. They started at 7-0, and then they lost the next 4. They've been very up and down since that 7-0 start to the year. Like, they will make finals, but 4th, 5th, I don't know, 3rd, depends. Should be top 4 their fixture, but beating lower teams will help you in the ladder. But when you get into the finals, and maybe you won't get your final at Geelong, but there's a mud field. And yeah, you paid all this money, 40,000 people, but I saw the photos. It was a mud field. Players covered in mud. It's not a good ground, man. It's a kitty litter ground. You can't even win there. You want a final there, but you've lost like 3 games there this year. And you usually barely lose there. Usually you win 8 out of 9 there. And this year you lost 3 there. So would you really want a final there the way you've been playing there? I don't know. You've been playing pretty well at the G this year, but I don't know. Is the final really worthy there? But if they face another Victorian team, they should not be there. If they face a non-Victorian team, they should be the GMHB. I think it deserves it, but got to do with the ground and all those things, and just depends how much a big big crowd you can get. But if it's like Geelong and GWS, you wouldn't want to have it at the G. Or it's like Geelong and Port Adelaide, same thing. But if it's Fremantle, Geelong and Fremantle, I think as well you could have it there. But saying like, yeah, that's like maybe the three teams you could have there. But it's like, and if they're facing a Melbourne team, you should not be at Geelong. There's no chance it should be, even if they're the highest seed. It does not matter. You're going to draw a massive crowd at the MCG, so may as well have it there. And they play well, the MCG, Geelong. It seems like Geelong played better than MCG than Geelong this year, so. And in the end, the grand finals are the MCG, not Geelong. So how many finals do you really want at Geelong? If you just say you have a home prelim in Geelong, sure, you win at Geelong, but winning at Geelong doesn't mean you can win the grand final of the G. So it's good to have MCG practice going onto the road to the finals, but I guess Geelong supporters and the team don't care about that. I don't know. It's whatever. And then we had Port Adelaide hosting Richmond at Adelaide Oval, and Port Adelaide got the win as expected, 41 points. Richmond showed a little bit of fight. What can you say about Port Adelaide? Quite inconsistent as well. They lost to Brisbane by a lot. They lost to GWS. I think they won their last two, so they're in the 8. They don't really deserve to be in the 8, but when you get, obviously you get to face lower teams, you're going to win games and things like that. And Port Adelaide haven't been that good against the top teams this year. They've lost to a lot of top teams this year. So I don't know about Port Adelaide. I don't know if they'll make the 8. Just depends. They're one of those teams that fight for the 8. They're in the 8 right now, but one loss and they're out. They're facing Carlton at Marvel Stadium this Friday. So if they lose that, they're probably out the 8. So, and they got a hard fixture, a decently hard fixture themselves. So good luck to them. I just think Port Adelaide don't deserve to make the 8. Their forward line is very dysfunctional. Dixon isn't that good. Georgiades is okay. Marshall isn't okay. I've always said the Port Adelaide forward line, I don't trust them. I trust the midfield. The midfield's pretty good. Their defence is okay, but quite short. They're not that tall over there. But like Zerk Thatcher and Radigalia, I wouldn't trust those guys. I like Houston. I like Mackenzie's okay. Burton's alright. But Zerk Thatcher and Radigalia, no chance, mate. I can't trust them for nothing. They can't defend a freaking brick wall, those two. Especially Radicalia, he's bad. He got a massive contract, but he's bad. He's not like, you can't win a premiership with Radicalia being your defender. No offense to him, but he's not that good. Same Zerk Thatcher too. He's not that good. And plus their ruck situation, Port Adelaide's ruck situation, Jordan Sweet and Ivan Soldo. That's not a good ruck combination whatsoever. Like how many hitouts are you going to win from that? But no, they make finals, they're very lucky, but I don't see them going far in the finals whatsoever. Like, the ceiling would be semi-final, and the lowest would be missing, so I don't think the ceiling's that high. Even though they're top 4 last year, obviously, they didn't win a final last year, so top 4 meant nothing for them. They're not, I don't know. Like, Rosie, Butters, and Horn-Francis and Wines are good players in the midfield, but how much can they carry? Not much if your forward line's quite weak. And then on Sunday, we had probably the game of the year. Brisbane hosting Sydney at the Gabba, and Brisbane got away with a 2-point win, and that's Sydney's 3rd loss the last 4 games, and that's their 4th loss of the year, Sydney. And Sydney dropped quite a few games recently. They started like maybe like 11-1, and since they've only won 1 game of the 4. And that was last week, but they lost to St Kilda, they lost to Freo, and then they lost to Brisbane, all by less than a goal, but still. I thought Sydney was going to win, but Brisbane now won their last 7, and Brisbane got into the top 4 because of that win, and they're charging in from their 0-3 in the start of the year, and they're just like, their form has turned around a crazy amount. I didn't even think Brisbane even going to make finals this year, but the way they play, they will easily make finals. They still got some hard games covered up, obviously. They will see where they finish in the top 4, the top 6. But I don't think Brisbane will miss finals, even if they lose a few. I still think they're good enough to win and at least 3 of the next 5 to make the finals. But at the Gabba, they played pretty bad at the Gabba at the start of the year, but since they've won a lot of games at the Gabba, I didn't expect them to beat Sydney. But Sydney were in front, and then Kamachi, like 2 minutes to go, kicks the goal, wins the game. Lockyer didn't play that well, but they still got the win. That shows the Brisbane team are a solid team, and Brisbane could go far this year. You don't know. They made the grand final last year, so they're the same team, bar a few injuries. But Ashcroft's back, and Reveal's been good, and Neils and Brownlow form again. McCluggage has been playing very well. Dunkley's been on an insane run. Danaher and Hipwood have been very, very solid in the forward line. Andrews has gone well in the back, and their team's so balanced and well. And Zorko's playing amazingly well for a 34-year-old. So they could make the grand final, you don't know. If they get a final in Brisbane, good luck to whoever they got to face, man. If it was at the G's, I'd think of a different story, Brisbane playing at the G, but I believe in Brisbane enough. I think the ceiling to Brisbane could be the grand final, a win, but I think the lowest that would go, the worst possible outcome for them is semi-final, I think, would be the lowest outcome that they should be happy about. If they don't even make the semi-final, I'd be quite surprised. But they're a good team, very good team. They started very slow, but since then they've showed that they're a good team and they're one of the contenders for the premiership. But they have won like 8 of their last, I think, 12 games. The last loss was against Hawthorn like freaking 2 months ago. So they've been on a 7-game winning streak. So they just turned around like nothing. They're one informed team of the competition. Then we had Fremantle hosting Melbourne at Optus Stadium, and just like Alice Springs, Fremantle killed them, not to 90-point killing, but a 50-point killing. And I went to this game, and Melbourne just didn't show up till the third quarter, really. They kicked, I think, 3 goals to half-time, and Melbourne couldn't get the ball inside the 50. They couldn't touch the ball. Clearances, they got killed, but they didn't have a ruckman. Clearances, hit-outs, they got smashed. Darcy and Luke Jackson were killing them in the hit-outs, and Treacy marked it like 9 times in the first half. Treacy kicked a few goals. Amos kicked a few goals. Sam Stewart kicked a few goals. Walters kicked 4. Brayshaw had 40. Sarong had, I think, 30-something. Young had like 28. The midfield smashing. The forwards had their way with May and Lever, man. Made them look silly. Made them look old. Just Tracy and Amos just had their way with May, man. They just outmarking him. Same with Lever. And they let things like I've seen, like the defense was so bad. Like the Melbourne defense can't transition, leaving guys open. Walter was open all the time. Fredericks was open all the time. Jeremy Sharp was open all the time. Out the back, Tracy got some easy marks. Amos got some easy marks. And sometimes even in the goal square, hand pass in the goal square goal, like they got out the back a lot of times, man. Melbourne was shocking, like really shocking. I think Oliver had like 6 to half time. The Melbourne couldn't even touch the ball. Melksham didn't play well. Van Rooyen didn't play well. None of the Melbourne forwards really did anything until like the last quarter. They kicked a few goals, but consolation prizes when the game was over. Melbourne only really showed up in the third and fourth quarter. Before that, they did nothing. They were outplayed comprehensively, and Fremantle looking like a top 4 team, and Melbourne looking like they won't make the finals. Melbourne only scored 66. That's quite a bad score. And all year, their forward line's been so dysfunctional. Like Fridge, Van Rooyen, Turner, Melksham, Petty. It's not a good combination. It's so weak. Half of them are defenders. Like Petty, man. He played forward, ruck, and defense on Sunday. They didn't know what to do with him. Melksham marked it maybe twice. Fridge didn't really touch the ball. Like, their forward line was so dysfunctional. All year, they've been barely scoring, Melbourne. Very far from 3 years ago. Even last year made the top 4. 2022 made the top 4. Their forward line's just been very bad. Their defense is, like, being outworked and old. And their midfield is so weak without Petrarca and Gawn. It's so weak. It's crazy. Finey and Oliver playing so bad. And Rivers barely touched the ball as well. And he's been pretty good this year. I don't know about Melbourne, man. What are they going to do? Like, once Gordon Petrarca come back next year, like, one more crack for the top 4? I don't know about this Melbourne team. Like, they don't deserve to play finals this year. They've been so up and down, it's crazy. They lost by 90 to Fremantle. They lost to Collingwood by, like, 6, 7, 8 goals. They've been thrashed a lot this year. Sure, you got to win against Essendon in the rain, but it wasn't anything to be like, wow, we beat one of the top teams. No, because Essendon's been in bad form. Melbourne had really nothing to show for recently. Melbourne haven't been playing well whatsoever. And Fremantle opposite. Fremantle probably finished top 4. But Fremantle at home is like such a good team. In a way, they're a bit shaky sometimes, but It's such an up and down season. Everyone's inconsistent. The Freo deserves to be top 4, I'd say. Or at least top 5 and get a home final. Because at home, they play very well. They haven't lost a game at home since, I think, Sydney Swans. That was a long time ago. And they lost a derby at Perth. And they had a draw at Collingwood. Besides that, they won every game at home. And they have a decent record away. But yeah, Fremantle going pretty well compared to last year. The improvement's been crazy. 2 years ago, they finished 5th, I think. And then last year, they were shocking. And this year, they're just top 4. And they got their midfield, Sarong and Brayshaw and Young just kill everyone usually they play against. And Amos and Tracy is such a young duo and a good duo. And Tracy's already kicked like nearly 40 goals this year. And Jackson and Sean Darcy are a great rock duo, like an amazing rock duo. Like when they play together, they win a lot of games. And like Ryan and Cox, they got some good defenders. And Fife is playing pretty well. A few weeks ago, he was getting out-tackled. He was getting chased down, holding the ball a lot. But recently, he's been playing a lot better, being a link in the chain with the hand passes. And Jeremy Sharp's great on the wing. And Fredericks and Walters are so quick. And they've got experience. They've got youth. Even like Alex Pearce, even though he got injured, he played pretty well. He's a good interceptor. But him, Cox, and Ryan are like great interceptors. And they're a very strong team. And they've been scoring a lot this year. So unlike what they usually are, low scoring, very slow. This year they've been very fast moving of the ball. A lot of high scoring 100 most weeks. So this is what wins your finals. This is the way they're playing now. If they make the top 4, they should win a final. I'd say the ceiling would be prelim. And the worst they could do, in my opinion, is semi-final. But if they get a final Perth, they would like nearly 100% a win, I would say, guaranteed. They played amazingly well in Perth this year. And if they finish top 6, they get a final in Perth. So this is where they should finish top 6. They're good enough. Some weeks, like when they lost the Western Bulldogs all those weeks ago by like 60, you went, oh man, what is this with this Freo team, man? Are they even gonna make the 8? And then after that, they won 3 games, close loss to Hawthorn, beat Melbourne. Been pretty good fun. And Freo beat some good sides too. They beat Sydney. They got Geelong soon. They'll probably beat Geelong in Perth, I'd say. They beat Brisbane earlier in the year. Beat some good teams, man. Yes. Who else is in the top 4? I'm thinking. In the last game of Sunday was Carlton hosting North Melbourne at Marvel. Carlton won by 19. Close game. North Melbourne showed a lot of fight, and North Melbourne were leading at the start, and Carlton just woke up. Played well in the third quarter. Kerno kicked his 4. Cripps had 30. Hewitt had like 22. Walsh had 25. Then out of that game, DeConing got injured. Now he's out for the year. That's a pretty big blow for Carlton. But Carlton are the undisputed second team in the competition. Has been that for a while. Nothing's really changed. They've lost their last 2 games before North Melbourne. But I think they should have beat North Melbourne a bit more. But at least they won and they keep their second position in the ladder. But if they would have lost, they would have dropped to maybe 5th or 6th. So they would be happy to be top 2. But that gets you a home final. So could make you a prelim. And I think Carlton are one of the 3 teams that could make the grand final this year. 3 or 4 teams, I'd say. Because their ceiling would be the grand final. And the lowest I think they can finish this year would be prelim. Especially, even if they lost the qualifying final, wherever it is, they should be able to beat whoever in the semi-final. If they finish top 4 at Melbourne, they should make a prelim, just like they did last year. Be very surprised if Carlton don't make at least a prelim this year. Because them and Sydney are like the clear-cut favourites. I've got them, Sydney, Brisbane, Fremantle, Geelong are probably my top 5 teams right now. Yes. If we look on to next week, or this week I mean, on Friday, Carlton are hosting Port Adelaide at Marvel Stadium. Carlton are 2nd and Port Adelaide 7th. Port Adelaide $2.79 and Carlton the favourites $1.45. And Carlton should win this. I don't know about how much, but they should win. Maybe by 5 goals, I'd say. Because Carlton are a lot better than Port Adelaide. So I just think Carlton will win that. Solidify them in the top 2. Marvel Stadium should be a packed out crowd. I just don't think Port Adelaide are good enough. I could be wrong, but earlier in the year when they faced each other, these two, at Adelaide Oval, Carlton took them to the sword at last quarter. So I just think Carlton will win. Stronger team. On Saturday, we got North Melbourne, $3.80, hosting Geelong $1.27 at Blundstone Arena in Tasmania. Geelong are 6th, and they're the favourites, obviously, and North Melbourne 17th. And Geelong should win this with their eyes closed, honestly. You've got to respond to a crappy performance against Western Bulldogs who Geelong, like the way you played. You've got to respond, and you should be able to beat North Melbourne very comfortably. North Melbourne only won 2 games all year, and it doesn't matter, Tasmania, wherever, you should be able to beat North Melbourne. So that should be a win for Geelong. Then we got Gold Coast hosting Brisbane at the People's First Stadium in Queensland. Gold Coast are 12th, $2.47, and Brisbane are the favourites at $1.55, 3rd. And this is probably the first game all year where Gold Coast haven't been the favourites at home. Just because it's in Queensland, it wouldn't make a difference to Brisbane. But as I've said, Gold Coast haven't won a game. Gold Coast haven't lost a game at home all year. Could that change? I don't think so. But I just think Brisbane, just like I said last week, Brisbane are for a loss. Brisbane are, what am I saying? Brisbane are in turn for a loss, I would say. Not like a loss wouldn't hurt them, Brisbane. So I just think Brisbane will lose. It'll kick them out the 4, but I just think Brisbane will lose, and Gold Coast will keep their undefeated winning streak. It should be a close, good game. The Q clash should be a good game. Should be close. I got Gold Coast winning. Doesn't matter if Brisbane are favourites. I just think Gold Coast will win. Obviously, I could be wrong, but I just think Gold Coast will respond and win, and it's what they do. They win at home, and that's it. Brisbane doing an amazing form, but they will lose a game. Every team loses a game, so I just think they'll lose a game by a little margin. And then we got St Kilda hosting Essendon at Marvel Stadium, $2.10. St Kilda and Essendon are the favourites, $1.75. Essendon are 8th and St Kilda are 15th. And Essendon should respond and should win the game, unlike they did with Adelaide. But Adelaide were 14th. And St Kilda got nothing to gain by winning, so honestly, Essendon should win. Surely, right? 8th place, finals on the line. Surely they're going to win, right? At St Kilda, 15th, nothing to play for. Surely Essendon win. We'll see though. If Essendon win, I don't know what to say. If Essendon lose, it's going to be like a huge choke and like probably miss finals, man. Don't lose, Essendon. They should win, I don't know. Too much talent to lose. Merritt, Langford, Stringer, Ridley. Come on. Draper. You should be able to beat St Kilda, man. And then we got Melbourne hosting GWS at the MCG. Melbourne $1.84. They're the favourites, and GWS is $2, and GWS are 5th, and Melbourne are 10th. And just because the GWS don't really play well the MCG in their history, I got Melbourne winning. That's a very tight, close game. Melbourne to respond. I know they got their injuries, Gorn and Petrarca and all that, but I just think they'll beat GWS. But GWS don't travel the MCG very well. They've barely won there in the whole history since 2012. So I'd say Melbourne, only because of the venue. If it was at Marvel, if it was at Spotless, if it was at Manuka, I would have GWS. But since it's at the G, I pick Melbourne. And that's the only reason I really think too. It should be a close game, and I think Melbourne will get a close win, and that's it really. Won't be a convincing win. It will make Melbourne probably be in the top 8, and GWS will fall down the ladder a little bit, but I just think the MCG factor will help Melbourne. There we got the Derby, Fremantle Dockers, $1.11, hosting Eagles, $6.70, and Fremantle 4th, and Eagles are 16th. And the corresponding game this year, the Derby, Eagles surprisingly won. I don't see that happening this time, because Eagles haven't won in 7 weeks, man. They've been 8 weeks. They haven't lost a game. We haven't won a game in 8 weeks, and they're known for playing better in Perth. But Freo, as I said, haven't lost a game in Perth probably since the Derby, or since they played Sydney a long, long time ago. So I got Fremantle winning comfortably, I'd say, because you can't lose 2 derbies to the Eagles, man. The Eagles are not a good team. Fremantle have too much talent, and Treacy and Amos will be too much for the Eagles' backline. And same with the midfield. The Eagles' midfield is not good. The forward line is not good. Nothing about the Eagles is good. So I just think Fremantle should be able to kick their ass very easily, maybe by 10 goals or more. And I'm going to the game. Should be a big crowd. Or it could be. It'd be good if it's a close game, but I just don't think Eagles will win. I know they won the Derby earlier this year, but I think that was just a fluke for them. So Fremantle should win and keep their place in the top 4. But a lot of line for Fremantle, nothing on line for the Eagles. Could be their first win for the new coach, but that's it. There's nothing else on the line. Fremantle loses, they're dropping out to 4. But if they're winning, they're getting closer to the top 2. So a lot on the stake, and they should be able to win. Then we start Friday. Collingwood 13th for $1.25, hosting Richmond, the MCG. Richmond 18th on $4, and Collingwood should win. Could be a close game, but both these teams haven't been playing very well recently. Collingwood have lost their last 4 games, so I just think Collingwood should win this. Because Richmond are a wooden spoon team right now. Collingwood should win. I don't know what else. Decent crowd, I think, maybe 70,000. Depends on the weather, I'd say. But yeah. Nothing really to say about this game. Collingwood will win. If Collingwood win, slight chance to make the finals. Very slight chance. But they should be able to win. And then we got Sydney hosting Western Bulldogs at SCG. Sydney are first at $1.42. Western Bulldogs are up $2.90. This should be a good game. And I've got Sydney winning to bounce back. But surely Sydney can't lose again, right? Surely. So I've got Sydney winning. Should be a close game, though. And if Sydney win, they keep their two game lead. But if they lose, and Carlton win, they'll have only a 1 game lead on the ladder. So they a little bit at stake for Sydney, but they should be able to win. Callum Mills will probably come back in, but he got managed last week, and we're not sure about Papley's injury. But even with Papley injury, Sydney should win. And this will hurt Western Bulldogs' finals chances, obviously, but I think Sydney are just a better team, and that's it. And then the last game on Sunday, we got Adelaide, $1.93, hosting Hawthorn, who are the favourites, $1.91, the Adelaide Oval. Adelaide are 14th and Hawthorn are 11th, and Adelaide came off the nice win against Essendon, and they won, I think, 3 of their last 5. So they've been in better form than they were earlier in the year, and Hawthorn have been cracking form, winning a lot of games. I think they won their last 2, yeah, and won, I think, 7 of the last 8. So I got Hawthorn winning. And it should be a close game because it's at Adelaide, and Adelaide played pretty well at Adelaide Oval the last few weeks. They beat GWS Adelaide Oval, they beat St Kilda at Adelaide Oval. They took it up to Brisbane in the Gabba, very close game. They beat Essendon last week, so they've been in pretty good form. So I got Hawthorn winning, but Hawthorn need to win this game. If Hawthorn don't win this, their final chances take a big hit. So yeah, there's a lot of stake for Hawthorn. For Adelaide, they ain't making finals, so there's a lot of stake for Hawthorn, so they should be able to win with the pressure on. As the favourites, they should be able to win. So yeah, that is round 20. Round 20, my predictions are round 20. And as I do it every week, we're going to go to the ladder predictor. If it loads, hurry up. And if everything I've said happens, by the end of the round, if everything I've said happens, Sydney will be first, Carlton will be second, Fremantle third, Geelong fourth, Brisbane fifth, Essendon sixth, GWS seventh, Port Adelaide eighth, Melbourne ninth, Hawthorn 10th, Western Bulldogs 11th, Gold Coast 12th, Collingwood 13th. But if Port Adelaide somehow upset Carlton, Port Adelaide will go from 8th to 5th, and Carlton will go from 2nd to 3rd. So I guess not that much for Carlton. And if Geelong lose to North Melbourne, some miraculous, insane thing, Geelong will go from 4th to 7th, which I don't see happening. If Essendon loses to St Kilda, which will be a bad thing and a bad sign for them, they'll go from 6th to 10th. So there's a lot of stake for Essendon. And if Brisbane beat Gold Coast, Brisbane will go from 5th to 3rd, and Gold Coast will go from 12th to 13th, so that doesn't really change for Gold Coast. And if somehow GWS beat Melbourne, GWS will go from 7th to 4th. And if Melbourne will go from 9th to 12th if they lose. So a lot of stake for Melbourne and GWS for that game. And if Fremantle lose to the Eagles, Fremantle will go from 3rd to 5th, so not that bad, not that much bad. And if Collingwood lose to Richmond and Collingwood will go to stay 13th, so that makes no difference. And Western Bulldogs get a big upset and beat Sydney. Western Bulldogs would go from 11th to 7th, and Sydney would stay 1st. And if Hawthorn lose to Adelaide, Hawthorn will go down to 13th. So a lot in line for a lot of teams. But yeah, so the end of this round should be, by the end of the round, there should be maybe only 10 teams and 11 teams in contention still, with Melbourne, Hawthorn, and Western Bulldogs be outside the 8 fighting for it, and Gold Coast and Collingwood are officially out, I'd say, after next round. But yes, thank you. See you.